You guys remember a while back when I created these two toppers for prayer/revelation journals. What I want them to be utilized for is for you to take with you to church. And as you're sitting there in church, as thoughts come to you, impressions, you could even use the word revelation, just anything that comes to your mind that you want to remember about your time spent in our Father in Heaven's house, that you can jot them down. But as I was looking at these, I realized they're a little bit too big for what I want to be able for you to carry in your purse or your handbag to and from church. So even though I've created these with all of this around here, I'm going to now destroy them because I want to make them smaller. But we're going to still be able to use this stuff. This is still going to be the topper. And I think what I'm going to do is do this one first, because this is the one for me, the French one. And this is the one I'm going to sell. So what I'm going to do first is pull off the backing of this cardboard. And then that way the topper won't be quite so thick. And then I'm going to take this pair of Tim Holtz scissors and trim it down so it's smaller. So what I thought I would do is a little voiceover here while I cut this out in fast motion and let you know a little bit about what's going on in my life. I'm about 95% moved in and unpacked. The things that need to be unpacked yet, I don't really need, so I haven't unpacked them. So I've finally been able to get into my craft room and do a little bit of crafting. The other thing, since I only live 2 miles from my daughter now, I'm able to hang out with her a little bit more and the grandkids. Like for instance, yesterday, I went and picked up my grandson Judson, and he wanted to come over here and earn a little money, so it was easy to pick him up and bring him over here. He pulled some weeds in my yard and cleaned off my porch, and so it's really nice to be able to go back and forth to her house frequently. And then I will still be able to use this even if I want to in the original form. If I feel like I need to, I can just glue it and it will look like it's more aged. But anyway, I wanted to make the journal a little bit smaller. So this is going to measure, this little topper, let's say 4 inches by, it'll be 6. So we will make a journal 4 by 6. So to make the fabric cover, what I do is I lay down a piece of plastic wrap over something that is like a silicone mat. And then I take whatever fabric I want to use. And I'm going to use this kind of a little gold fabric. I've cut it to the size of what my journal is going to be. I take watered down, half water, half Mod Podge, and then I add just a tiny little bit of coffee to it. And it can be like just the crystals. And just add a little bit of coffee. That gives it some darkness to the color. And I'm going to start off first by just putting that mixture of Mod Podge and water down. just to wet my fabric. And you want to use napkins. And what you're going to do is take your napkin. Now, napkins usually are 3-ply, sometimes they're 2-ply. And what you're going to do is separate your napkin. And these are the napkins that I'm using. And the main reason is because of this. There's so much white on the inside. So what you're going to do is just pull off the plies. And I'm just going to pull that first one off because I've already got some over to the side. Now, some of the napkins, if you'll see this one, it's got a little bit of the impression of the bird, but you can barely see it. So I'm going to use that one first. And what you're going to do is just lay it down. I just lay it over my piece of fabric. You can also tear it if you want. And then I just lay some more of the Mod Podge and water over it. Now, you don't want to use the printed side of the napkin yet, because otherwise it gives your layer too much busyness, too much what do I want to say? It just looks confusing and messy. So then now I did that one layer, then I pull this one up, and I'm going to put another little bit of glue over here. And you see how that gives it a nice aged color? And then what you can do is, I'm going to pull this off because I don't want a double layer yet without glue in between it. So then I'm going to pull that over like that and add some of the water and glue, and then I'm going to bring it up and do the same thing. Then I'm going to pull off another one and lay it on. Now, since I laid that one up here in this corner, I'm going to do this one in this other corner. So I'm just laying it down. So I need to ask you guys your opinion on something. I was talking to my sister the other day, and she asked me about having people's name at the beginning of the video, where I thank them for their lovely comments. And I really appreciate that and want to acknowledge each and every one of those people that take the time for that. And then I'm going to pull this one down and this up just a little bit. But she thought it might turn some people off for the time it takes for that. And I believe it usually only takes 30 to 45 seconds. But give me your opinion on that. Does that bother you to have that at the beginning of the video, seeing people's name go by, that I want to acknowledge their comments? Or would it be better if I say their name? The only thing is, sometimes people from other countries, their names I think would be difficult for me to pronounce. So I think it's better for me to just write them down. But give me your opinion on that. Then that's layer number 2. And now what I'm going to do is take just a plain white one. What's the matter, baby? Huh, Finn? What's the matter? And let's put one more layer down. Okay, and so then next for my layers, I have some rice paper. And since these are going to be for prayer journals, I'm going to use these. And all you do is kind of tear the rice paper. There's some writing up here, so I'm going to take that off. But this is going to be the inside cover on the left-hand side. So I'm going to put this bigger image here, and I'm just going to lay it down and then put some of that mixture over it to stick it down. And then the same with this one over here on the right-hand side. And then what I'm going to take is, I have a little bit of glitter here, gold glitter. And while this is still wet, I'm just gonna sprinkle just a little bit of that glitter around it. Isn't that pretty? And then I'm gonna set this aside to dry. And then after it dries for about 24 hours, I'll show you what it looks like. So now it's the next day, and it feels fairly dry on this side, but I know it's not completely dry on the other side. But I am going to go ahead and turn it over and peel off this mat, and then that way it will give this fabric side the opportunity to dry. So you see how it's just very, very like more firm now. So I'm going to leave it like this on this side and let it completely dry. I let my fabric cover dry overnight, and so now I want to cut it down, because you see this little edge right here, that's part of the glue and not part of the fabric. So I want to cut it down and even out the edges. So I'm just going to lay it in my cutter here. And just go up that side. And then as I bring it to this side, then I can line it up against the edging of my cutter here. So I'm just going to line it up there and make sure I'm at a good point down here too. And then the same over here. By the way, this cutter is fantastic. It's a Fiskars, and it's kind of their heavy duty one. I love it. It really cuts very, very well. Okay, so now my edges are all nice and even, with the exception of, now I notice as I'm looking, the fabric only goes to about there. So I actually need to cut more of that bottom off. Because I want to make sure that there's fabric all along there. And see here, it's missing a little bit. So I'm also going to bring it up this way, just ever so slightly. Okay, that looks good, because by the time I put corners on it, it will look just fine. So here's the cover. This is going to be the inside, and this is the outside here. So I'm going to fold it in half. So the next thing I'm going to do is put some book corners on the ends of the pages, and I've got 4 of these here. I got them from Amazon. These are really nice and small for small journals. So let's just put those on the edges, and it protects the corners and makes them look just a little bit more decorative. So you just slip them over the corner, and then either take needle nose pliers or your regular pliers and just pinch them together. So let's see which one I need to do. Let me try these big suckers first. I don't know if that squished it, or maybe because these are so big. No, it didn't squish it. I'm like, that fell off. I may have to put a little bit of glue. Let's try these little ones and see if that is a little bit better. You want to make sure that they're butted right up against the corner. And I think that's okay. Yeah. So while I finish these corners, I'm going to turn the camera off for just a sec. So I got so involved in what I was doing, I forgot to turn the camera on. But the only thing I did was to put some crinkle seam binding as my closures. And I got this seam binding from Triple V Vintage. So go over to her Etsy shop and you will find that there. Then the other thing is, and I sewed it down with like some decorative stitching, zigzag stitching. Then I had this old doily that has some stains on it. And I mean, who knows how old it is, but it fit on the cover. And so that's going to go on the back, or that is on the back, sorry. And so I sewed that down. I did tack down a little bit of it with glue, and I could still kind of go in here with my glue on my Fabri-Tac and just go underneath here and put like a little bit here and there. But I don't think that's gonna come up because it's sewed down here and sewed down there. So maybe I will just put just a little bit. I don't like putting too much glue because sometimes it seeps through and then you can see it, and I don't like that. So I'm just going to put tiny, tiny, tiny bit here. If I can get underneath there. Yeah, there we go. That's good enough. So then that is part of the back cover, the decorative side. And then I'm going to bring my door in here. I'm going to glue that down there. And then I'm going to bring my key up here and have that there. can decide which way I'm going to have it. Probably about like that. And then I thought about, these were some of the parts from that original big thing that I had done that I keep ripping apart. But I thought I might put some of these on there just to kind of, I don't know. We'll see. So what I need to do first is this part because I want to make sure the front is balanced. So I do like that. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and glue that down. So if you remember, this opens up to the revelation about Christ standing at the door, and if you knock, he will hear you. And so I think I'm going to glue this down with my Fabri-Tac. I believe it's a little bit stronger glue. So I'm just going to come around here and bring that glue in. I probably should go get a big bottle. But do you think I will get up and do that? No. Oh my gosh. So how's everybody doing? Doing good? I had a fantastic day. I went to church today and I actually spoke in church. It was, my topic was helping the distressed and poor. So I gave it my best shot. It was about a 10-minute talk. And then I came home and I started dyeing some paper. I'm doing some Christmas paper using red food coloring and some of my Stampin' Up inks, my red inks. So, and my stencils I'm using are all Christmas. So those are drying in the garage right now. And oh yeah, we had also something like a little, oh, it's called Linger Longer. It's kind of a potluck after church. And it was soups and salads. And oh my gosh, I'm telling you, we got some good cooks. Because I tried 3 different soups and they were all fantastic. They were really good. I was assigned a salad, so I took a salad. And then, like I said, I've just been crafting. I will probably go get my son from work here in maybe a few minutes. Oh, I've been watching Patty Lang's channel, Sacred Mementos. She's having a flea market sale and I've bought a few things from that. Okay, I'm gonna get my bigger glue next time, but I put glue on the whole thing and then I'm gonna set it down here. And then what I'm gonna do is take these clips so that it really adheres. I need actually some longer clips. I do have, you know what? I forgot I've got these long paper clips. These I use when I'm binding journals, binding my papers together. They're really good. So I'm just gonna slip that in there and bring it down, and that will hold that in place too. And I'm gonna bring this one over here. And I'm gonna let that sit and adhere for a minute, and then I'll be back with you guys. So I've glued both those down, and I think I'm gonna call this a video. I will put in the signatures on our next time of meeting. I'm still debating on whether or not I'm gonna put something there or not, but I'm pretty pleased with it. I like the size of it. I think it's gonna be really fun to, like I said, carry around and have at church. And I will see everyone next Monday. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. Bye.